Hi, everyone.
Happy Wednesday. We're going to wait just a few minutes and let some of you hop on with us before we get started here.
If you guys are joining us, let us know where you're watching from.
Hey, Caitlin. Amanda.
Hi, Jennifer. We have Missouri and Kentucky. Hi, Sue. North Dakota.
Kathy from Idaho. Very good.
All righty. We're going to go ahead and get started. We have a special guest with us today. John is with us from Equinety, and he's going to talk about making sure your horse is getting enough amino acids and also some new supplements that we just started carrying.
Be sure if you have any questions, please get those in the comments. We are going to be giving away a nice little prize today. Some Equinety Horse XL and Ultimate OEC. So be sure you get your questions in there or just say hello. Let us know you're watching with us today. And with that, John, we're going to turn it over to you.
Well, thank you very much and appreciate the opportunity to educate everybody on Equinety and how this stuff works. So the Equinety Horse XL, which is the little container that you held up, it's 100% pure amino acids. There's no fillers, sugars, or starches, and there's no loading dose. And so one of the things that makes it unique is it doesn't fit into a specific supplement category. So in other words, it's not just a joint supplement or recovery or shiny coat or hoof or so on and so forth. What it's actually doing is it's specifically formulated to stimulate the pituitary gland, which is a gland in the body that releases hormones. And when this happens, we're allowing the body to send its own hormones to its own problem areas. And so it takes a lot of the guesswork out. And so what we found through the years is, you could have 50 horses with 50 different issues going on, and you just give them this little tiny scoop, which is 5.2 grams. It's like a teaspoon, just right on their as a top feed, or top dressing rather, and it's going to customize each horse's needs. And so through the years, 8.5 years on the market, we've been, talking to thousands of horse owners around the country, and it really doesn't matter what the feeding program is, what the age of the horse is, or what they're doing for a job. They're all benefiting from these amino acids. And so one of the great things about it too is it starts working within hours. And so scientifically, how it kind of works is when you give a scoop of the product in the morning, as an example, those amino acids are rapidly absorbed and the hormones are released. But these hormones have a 23.5-hour life cycle. So by the time you give a scoop the following morning, the hormone levels are back to where they would normally be for that age of a horse, which is why you give the product every day. Now, when you're dealing with an injured horse or one that you're trying to bring back from an injury, or for the working performance horse, what a lot of people are doing is they're giving a scoop in the morning and a scoop in the evening. And that just helps keep the hormone levels elevated all the time. So it helps promote faster recovery. And so typical results within a day to 2 days, maybe 3 days, horses that have a lot of stress, anxiety, or a bit spooky, we've seen complete demeanor changes in as little as 2 or 3 days. In about a week to 2 weeks for the working performance horse, fast recovery, more stamina, better focus. And you get into the 30-day mark, softer, shinier coat. They're just moving better. The top line and hips are filling out. And you get into the 4 to 6 week mark. The overall hoof health is great. More firm sole depth. It's helps with white line and thrush and all kinds of things, dealing with the hoof. And so it's a pretty amazing product, and it's with as fast as it works. We've done a lot of things through the years called the 30-day challenge, which one lucky winner on here today will get 2 of these little samples, which is 30 days of Horse XL. So we always encourage people to take a picture when they start, and then 30 days later. If you can take one at day 15, that's great too. So you can compare day 1, day 15, and day 30, and then you can compare those pictures. So that's pretty much everything on the Horse XL. If anybody has any specific questions on that one, and then I can talk about our other product that you guys are carrying.
We do have a few questions that came in. See if we can find them here.
The first one, that wasn't the first one. Yeah, it was.
Yep.
Brenda asked, does it help with bone repair? And I'm not
Yes,
sure
it is going to work.
with it.
Yeah, with it, I mean, yes, it does work at the skeletal level. We've had people through the years that deal strictly with herbs, and the one thing that herbs can't do is work at the skeletal level. So when it comes to bone fractures and things like that, it's just always going to help repair faster when it comes to anything like that. We've got a lot of rehab facilities that use it as well. So again, it's just helping that repair process much faster.
Leah had asked, what effect does it have on an older horse with insulin resistance?
Yeah, so it's there's nothing negative, and that's the great thing with the amino acids is it's 100% safe. Amino acids are the building blocks of protein, and so through the years with Cushing's and IR horses, it works really, really well. And if you think of it too, we're just trying to help balance the horse hormonally. Really, is what's going on. Those hormones are being released, and so since we're giving the body what it needs to release hormones, it's the body that's regulating the hormones. So there's not any negative side effects with any other medications or supplements or feeds or anything like that. And, for those that are feeding, a high-end feed, and maybe when you look on the label and it's loaded with amino acids, if that feed is in a pelleted form, it requires an extremely high heat to produce those pellets. And that high heat destroys the integrity of the amino acids. And so, the horse is still not getting the right amount of amino acids. So just to supplement a little scoop of Equinety, you'll see results in 30 days or less.
All right. Amanda had a question. She said, is the dosage larger for horses that are like 13 to 1400 pounds versus an average 1200 pound horse?
Very good question. What's really neat with this is whether it's a tiny mini or a draft horse, they get the same dose. Because we're targeting the pituitary gland, which is roughly the same size in horses. So it has nothing to do with the body weight. It has to do with the size of the pituitary gland. So one little scoop, regardless of the size of the animal.
Sue had asked if it would interfere with Cushing's.
No. So through the years, 100% safe. Now, obviously, when you're dealing with Cushing's, there's a tumor on the pituitary, which is releasing too much of one of the hormones, and that's what causes all the issues. What we found through the years, because what we're really after is growth hormone out of the pituitary, and the growth hormone triggers IGF-1 out of the liver. And so what this is doing is it's helping to get the right amount of hormones released. And so it kind of helps balance out the Cushing's and IR horses.
We had a couple people ask if it would help with weight gain.
Yes. The neat thing with this is almost the question is yes all the time in the good way. So if your horse, if you're loading your horse with all kinds of food, trying to get it to gain weight, what we found through the years, this will really help balance and put a good weight on. Now, it's not going to make the horse gain extra weight. Now, with that being said, we've had some people through the years that, they started feeding the Equinety Horse XL and like, oh, my horse is getting fat. Well, all they have to do is reduce the amount of feed they're giving because they're just feeding too much. And so that's one of the things that you'll be able to notice. But yeah, it'll really help fill your horse out. And typically within 30 days, you can really start noticing the change there.
So we have a couple people that joined late and are asking what product we're talking about. So
sure. Equinety Horse XL, which is in the tub. That's 100% pure amino acids. and then the Ultimate OEC. The Ultimate OEC we came out with about a year and a half ago, a little bit longer than a year and a half ago, with the help of Dr. Zach Brugan. And he's a mobile vet out in Arkansas, and he had been using the Horse XL on a lot of his clients' horses just to help with the overall, everything with the horse, gut issues and, the recovery and the stamina and the performance world. And by the way, this works great. And I'm talking about the Horse XL. This product works great at any age. It's safe for brood mares. It's safe for the foals. It's safe for the yearlings. The maturity horses through all the way to the senior horses. It's going to help all along the way. We've had a lot of people through the years with their senior horses that are out there as pasture ornaments, and they'll be, kind of just dragging their feet around, and they start this product on them, and they'll look up one day and they're out there running around and bucking and playing, which maybe they haven't done that in years. So it really makes them feel good. One of the other questions that we get, will it make my horse hot? The answer to that is no, it doesn't. But it does make them feel good. So sometimes people aren't used to a horse that's feeling good. It's not making them hot. They just feel good, So the other thing when it comes to hoof quality, especially even with foundered horses, we have a podcast on our website at teamequinety.com. And through the years, it was a way for me to capture a lot of these stories that would come in. And so a lot of the questions, does it help with this or that? You can go to our website and check out the podcast and hear from other people. But we've had some pretty severe founder cases. And it's not that it's going to directly fix the rotation of the coffin bone, but what it's going to do is help thicken the sole of that hoof, which is going to support the coffin bone. And then it gives the farrier more to work with in a shorter amount of time. So the hoof quality is really amazing all the way around, especially if you have hoof walls that are cracking and things like that. It'll help with the overall quality of the hoof. So when we get into a year and a half ago, we came out with the OEC with Dr. Zach Brugan. So he had called me up, and he had already been using the Horse XL for a couple of years, I think, at the time. And he says, "Hey, have you ever thought about coming out with another product?" And I said, "Well, not for the sake of coming out with one. There's a few too many products on the market as is." And I said, "If it would work with what we have, I would be open to hearing about it." And he says, "Well, here's what I have in mind." He goes, "I'm a big fan of oils." And I'm like, "Are you serious right now? You obviously know how many oils are on the market." And he says, "Yeah, there are a lot of oils on the market. However," and in his practice, what he's noticed through the years, a lot of people that are using oils, they really don't know what they're using. They're just giving an oil because maybe they need to put weight on their horse or whatever the case might be. But it's important if you're using an oil to make sure that it's an omega-3 based oil. It's higher in omega-3s versus omega-6. You get into the vegetable oils and corn oils and things like that, then they look good on the outside, but the omega-6 is causing a lot of inflammation on the inside. So you just want to make sure that you've got a good omega-3 based oil. And so ours is a flaxseed based omega-3 oil. The other ingredient is natural cold pressed vitamin E, and there's 1,000 IUs of natural cold pressed vitamin E as well as colloidal silver. And so the three ingredients, it's not that there's anything unique with any of the three ingredients. It's just there's nothing on the market that has all three of those in it. And so it's a really powerful antioxidant, which helps reduce the inflammation, but it also works in combination with the amino acids to give those repaired cells nutrition. So when we're talking about the Horse XL, this you give to your horse, but we recommend everybody give it to their horse, regardless of what you're currently feeding, because you're going to notice a change really quickly. So this is repairing cells. And the flaxseed-based omega-3, the OEC, is given the repaired cells some nutrition. And so that's why it works as a really powerful combination. But we always recommend people to start with the aminos, and then you can add. One of the other questions that we get often is, should I stop everything I'm using and just add the Horse XL? And so one of the great things with the Horse XL is we tell people not to change a thing you're doing. Just add a scoop of the Horse XL. And that way we're only changing one element. And then over the next couple of days to a couple of weeks, and definitely by 30 days, you'll be able to determine, what's working and what's not working. And then, you can obviously add the OEC after that. With all that being said, we have people that just add them both right away. So that's fine too.
Caitlin had asked if it would help with arthritis.
Yes, it does. Well, because one of the things with arthritis is dealing with inflammation. So one of the amino acids in the Horse XL is L-arginine. And one of the benefits of L-arginine is it helps open the veins, which promotes better blood flow. And so now you're getting more oxygen in, which helps reduce inflammation. And so for the first 7 years on the market, all we had was the Horse XL. And so most of all of the podcasts that we have on our website have to deal around the Horse XL and all the benefits there. And so over the last year and a half, when people started adding the OEC with the Horse XL, they even noticed a more shiny coat. They haul better. They eat very well while they're on the road. So all of those are great benefits and important too, especially if you're in a competitive world.
Barbara wanted to know, how does this work or help with stifle issues?
I would, it works. Now, you have to take in consideration too, Mother Nature, because there's some stuff that, it can only do so much. But, through the years, we've had great feedback with horses that have stifle issues and things, because again, when you understand what the product is doing, and I'm talking about the amino acids, we're giving the body what it needs to release its own hormones. And now the body can send its own hormones to its own problem areas. And so this takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. And so where sometimes you might think, oh, we're having an issue here, but maybe that's not the root cause of that particular issue. And so you can just give this product, and a lot of times it'll help fix whatever's in there. But yeah, we've had a lot of great feedback with helping with stifle issues through the years.
You asked that one.
Yep.
Okay. Will it help with hoof cracks?
Yes, it will. Now, again, it seems like I'm answering yes to almost everything.
Yes.
A lot of times when people call in, I feel like a psychiatrist. And I say, yes, it will. But again, the hoof quality, and I'll tell you a quick story. A couple years ago, I had a farrier that called me up, and he had kept running into people that were using our product, the Horse XL. And he says, I've looked at it. It looks really interesting. It kind of makes sense, but I'm going to tell you something. I'm 70-something years, 72, I think. So I've been farrieing for 59 years. I've heard it all and seen it all, but I'll be open to it. I said, all right. I said, well, how about I just send you some and then you tell me? He says, all right. So that was about 3 or 4 weeks later. He calls me up, John, I cannot believe what I just saw. I've never seen this in 59 years. So this particular horse, when he put him in the cross ties, it was almost impossible to work on this horse's hooves. I mean, he was just so tender-footed, and it was just dangerous. He'd try to flip over backwards, and you name it. It was really, really dangerous. So he got the product, and by the next time he got out to the farm, the horse just stood there, lifted all its feet, worked on him, and then turned him loose, and he went around and bucked and played and everything else. And so, he would there for quite a while. He was calling me every 2 or 3 weeks with all kinds of stories. But when it comes specifically to the cracked hooves and weak hoof walls and thrush and white line and all these hoof issues, this really helps strengthen those hooves. And typically you're looking at, the 6 to 8 week mark before you really start noticing. We have had people within 30 days notice more firmness in the sole depth, but that's typically going to come more at the 6 week mark.
Tina is curious how long the jar will last. So 2 different sizes here.
So the large tub is 100 servings, 100 to 115 servings, and that's $100 retail. So $1 a day for 1 serving a day. The small tub that you have is 15 days, and we're going to be giving away 2 of those, which will be a combination of 30 days of Horse XL as well as a 30-day jug of OEC. So you have 30 days with both products.
Chelsea asked, can it be fed with biomass or life force? I'm not sure if I'm saying that first one right or not.
Yeah, the great thing is we actually recommend not changing anything that you're doing and just add this to it. And that way you're only changing one element. I'm specifically talking, with the Horse XL. We have people that add both of them to it right away. But, I always think it's more fair if you just don't change a thing, just add one element. And that way, because you already have a baseline of everything that you've been feeding, you know what is working. You also know in the back of your mind that some of the stuff that you're feeding may or may not be working, or iffy at best. And so when you just add the one product, then you can just compare those results over the next couple weeks to 30 days. And so the great news about it is that there's not any negative side effects at all with anything else. So it's just amino acids.
Okay. Here is a question from Amy. She says, with the effect on IGF-1 and GH, do you need to give it 5 days on and 2 days off so the pituitary isn't depending on it?
No, it's not depending on it. It's and the reason is because, you know, and I'll give you an example for on the human side as an example, how this translates over into horse years. I haven't calculated that out, but on the human side, we're up at 100% of our hormone levels up to the age of 25. And then by age 40, we're about 30% less. And then it just continues to decrease 10 to 12% every decade. And so all we're doing here is we're stimulating the pituitary to release hormones. And since we're allowing the body to release its own hormones, it's the body that's regulating it. And so we've had people that have started this product when we came to market 8.5 years ago, and they've given it to the horse every single day. And a lot of times, you know, morning and evening, you know, for 8.5 years. And horses are doing great. And I'll get into that a little bit too, because as I mentioned earlier, when you give a scoop in the morning as an example, the hormones are released, and those hormones have a 23.5-hour life cycle. So if you were giving the product for 4 years straight, and then you just stopped, the hormone levels are just going to go back to where they would normally be for that age of a horse. And nothing wrong there. So when you're giving it every day, the hormone levels are released and have a 23.5-hour life cycle. So by the time you give it the following morning, they are back to where they would normally be, you know, again, for that age of a horse. And this is why you give the product every day. Now, when you're getting into performance horses or working horses, or, you know, ones that are injured, you're trying to bring back from a recovery. A lot of people are giving a scoop in the morning and scoop in the evening, and that just keeps the hormone levels elevated longer throughout the day. And so it helps promote faster recovery and stamina.
All right. Lisa asked if it helps with muscle mass.
Yes, it does. Surprising. Yeah. And that's one of the things with amino acids, are the building blocks of protein. So it really helps promote muscle. And if, for those that are just tuning in, you know, through the years, dealing with thousands of horse owners around the country, what we found, it doesn't matter what part of the country you're in, what the horse is doing for a job, or what their feeding program is. 1 scoop a day of the Horse XL, and you're going to see results. And so typically, even within 30 days, we're noticing, you know, more top line. They're filling out overall in the hip area. There was several years ago, there was an old cowboy out of Virginia that I saw at a barrel race. And we were fairly new on the market. Maybe we had been out for a couple of years or something at the time. And I was introduced to him, and I'll just say he was very cordial, because I'm sure he had heard a lot through the years. And so I ran into him again a couple months later, and I had given him some product. And then about 2 months after that, I ran into him again, and I said, "Hey, how's that product working for you?" He says, "Well, I'll tell you this." He goes, "I've been working 2 years to try to get a top line on this mare. Nothing's worked." He goes, "But your stuff did." I go, "Well, that's probably about the best compliment we could get out of that guy." But, you know, now, the other thing is, you know, talking about muscle mass, and this will not over muscle mass your horse either. You know, the body is basically regulating everything. And so this is why it helps in so many ways and in so many situations, because you could have, you know, a horse with hoof issues, one with gut issues, one that needs to add weight, and then they all have dull coats. Well, it's going to make all their coats shiny and healthy. And that's one way that you can tell it's working on the molecular level. But then it's also going to customize to each of the horse's needs. And so also through the years, we found that injected horses aren't having to be injected as often, and sometimes not at all. And so, you know, when I say all of this, obviously you're working with, you know, your vet and farrier and all this stuff. It's just giving the horse what it needs and what it's typically lacking in. It helps get your horse back to where you want him to be faster.
Okay. Carrie had asked if you can discuss the benefits to the gestating horse with the use of Equinety.
The gestating horse. Well, what would be more specifically?
We'll see if she comes back.
Now that I just lost his place.
A lot of fans on here
Yeah.
today too.
Yep. Amy asked, if you were to quit using it, do you have to slowly like wean them off, or can you just stop using it?
You can just stop. I mean, what we found again through the years is a lot of people, maybe they're not even looking for a supplement or anything, and then all of a sudden their horse tweaks something or is hurt, or now all of a sudden you're on the hunt to try to find something to try to fix your horse. Or the case might be maybe your horse has stress, anxiety, or is a bit spooky, and so you start giving the product, and however much time goes by and you're thinking, well, shoot, I don't even think I need this product anymore, and you stop giving it, and the hormone levels just go back to where they would normally be for that age of a horse. But typically what we found is the horses will regress back to kind of what they were doing before. And so, it's definitely a product that you just want to have on your horse 24/7.
Lindsay is a huge fan.
Hi, Lindsay. Thank you.
No. Caitlin had a question. Would it help with mucus buildup in the trachea? Her mare has issues and nothing has worked yet. They've done daily shots of Dex and feeding Trihist.
That is a good question, and I don't have the answer to that. The great thing about it is there's nothing negative from giving it a try. And I tell people too, it's not that. Well, I'll give you an example. So people call in and they'll ask a bunch of questions, and to me, to have somebody buy $100 tub doesn't make or break our business model, as a one-off, but it has all the benefits to help your horse. And so, I live in Florida, so it's very hot and humid and sandy, and so they deal with a lot of different issues down here, sweet itch and all kinds of allergies and things like that. And so more times than not, just this little scoop helps with those issues. And where in other parts of the country, they don't have those kinds of issues. But, specifically when it comes to mucus buildup, that would have to be something to try. And maybe you could be a testimonial for us on that.
This one. So can you use this products on other animals or just horses?
Well, we have a lot of people that use it on their dogs. And so, but yeah, we have people that have used it on sheep and goats and mules and pigs, show pigs and things like that. And they swear by it. And again, what's neat is the pituitary gland is roughly the same size. So even a little dog gets the same amount as a 2,000-pound draft horse. But yeah, we've had, I have almost a 15-year-old rescue that I've been giving her product now for, well over 8 years.
Yeah, that's a good question. Amy had asked, is this allowed with WADA testing at the FEI level?
Oh, yes. Yeah. As a matter of fact, when we first came to market, we actually launched in Canada. And I think it was going back to 2016. We were the preferred horse supplement of equestrian Canada. And so we started off in the world of dressage and on the English side. And so there's nothing to test for because it's 100% pure amino acids.
Carrie asked if it could be used in pregnant mares and what would the benefits be?
Yes, it can. As a matter of fact, we have just done some significant testing this breeding season. And so we've had some breeders through the years that have told us that they've seen an increase in fertility, number one. So we did some pretty heavy testing, and we've got some exciting things coming out this fall around that. But some of the benefits, it's going to help hold weight on the mare, and it's also going to help with development. And so there's been several times through the years where sometimes the foals, maybe they're a little behind in development in a knee or something like that, and they can give them the product, and it'll really help just the overall development. And we have, for the yearlings, if you're getting stuff ready for the sale, it really shines the coats up and helps them fill out and things like that.
Carrie said, so based on the 23 hours, I've been feeding AM and PM. Should I do only one scoop in the AM? My gelding is 23 years old.
Yeah, so it depends on what you're using them for. If you're really working the horse hard, or hauling, or in the performance world, then a scoop in the morning and a scoop in the evening is just going to help keep the hormone levels elevated all the time. And so it's one of the things that you can test with. And so, we've had a lot of people through the years, they give one scoop and then they do a scoop in the morning and the evening, and then you have something to compare to. And a lot of horses are perfectly fine with just the one. And, others, they like the two scoops.
Let's see. All right. Well, that is pretty much.
Show them what the
Oh,
product looks
yep.
like.
We can show that again.
This is the full. That.
Yep, that's the 100-day.
Just a sample. 30.
Yep, that's the 15-day, which we get 2 of those, and the 30 days of ultimate OEC.
Okay. Any more questions coming in here?
Somebody said, so just want to be clear, there is no interaction with medications like Equiox.
Correct. Ulcer guard. As a matter of fact, we've had people. There was one. It was a really significant one. They were given ulcer guard every single day to their horse. They had really, really bad ulcers, and they started feeding this Horse XL, and they really didn't have to give the that anymore. So they just could use the Horse XL. And we have veterinarians around the country that use it specifically for gut issues specifically. But it's one of those things that you don't have to stop what you're using, and you can just add this to it. And over the next couple of weeks to 30 days, you can determine, your horse is way better than I do, since I don't know them at all. But that's the good news with it. There's not any negative side effects at all.
Okay. Sonia says, I have my OTTB on this, and it has helped him develop a great top line. I show him and want to ask based on your comments. During the show season or a show weekend, do you recommend starting him two days, a day or two before heavy work?
Probably asking about 2 scoops a couple days before leading in. Yeah, it's one of those things that, since right now you have a baseline of what it's been doing at 1 scoop, you could definitely try that a day or 2 before the show, and then while you're showing, and you might find that maybe they haul a little better, or they're drinking better. They just feel good. Recovery, stamina, focus. Those are all things to keep in mind and look for. But you might find that 1 scoop is perfectly fine too.
Caitlin, this is 100 days supply, correct, John?
Correct.
100 days.
And that retails for $99.99.
Can you do a recap of what the liquid supplement is?
Yes. So it's a flaxseed-based omega-3. It's got 1,000 IUs of natural cold-pressed vitamin E and colloidal silver all in one. And so we brought this to the market about 1.5 years ago to work in combination with the amino acids. So the amino acids are giving the body what it needs to repair cells, and the ultimate OEC gives those repaired cells some nutrition, but those main ingredients in the OEC act as a really powerful antioxidant, which helps reduce inflammation.
Okay. And then,
so now to give you a little bit more feedback on that, we've had some people through the years. The horse is doing great on the Horse XL on the amino acids, but maybe they don't want to drink when they're being hauled, or maybe they're tying up a little bit. And then they give them the OEC, or maybe they have a cough. That's happened quite a bit, and they'll add that OEC along with the aminos, and it seems to be the missing puzzle piece in a lot of cases.
And then how much is the OEC?
That's $84.99 retail for 30 days. And the biggest thing is, as I mentioned earlier, if you're using an oil, you just want to make sure that the oil is an omega-3 based oil, not an omega-6 based oil. Omega-6 causes inflammation. And so the horses will look good on the outside, but on the inside, it's really not doing too much positive things for them. And so that's why we have a flaxseed based omega-3 oil.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think that's all of our questions
all
for
the
now.
questions.
John, did you have anything else that you wanted to add before we draw a winner today?
Well, I just appreciate you having me on, and hopefully that answered a lot of questions for the folks out there. And, we've just seen the benefits through the years, and the horses in general are lacking in amino acids. And so we're blessed to have a product that works as well as it does and as fast as it does. And, it's something, that we stand behind, and we appreciate the time to be able to educate everybody.
Very good. All right. One more quick question. We had one pop up here. This is a good one. Do you have to store the oil or the supplement in a certain temperature?
So the cold doesn't affect it. The extremely high heat, depending on where you are, could for an extended period of time. But, Dr. Zach Brugan, who helped us come out with the oil, he carries them both on his truck in the heat of summer around, and he hasn't had any of them or the oil go rancid or any problems. And, you're going through it pretty fast. So you don't really have to worry about it unless you just have, 3, 4, or 5 tubs that are going to be sitting for months on end or something like that. But for the most part, no.
All right. Let's draw a winner.
We're going to draw a winner today.
One lucky winner is going to get a 30-day supply of the supplement.
Yep.
And the ultimate OEC. And Melanie.
All right. The winner today is Barbara Nance.
Yay! Congratulations.
I didn't know about the streamers.
We love confetti here.
All right, John, we want to thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. We had tons of questions today, tons of great comments, and a lot of fans.
A lot of fans. A lot of people use it and are very pleased. So
That's awesome. I sure appreciate it.
before we hop off of here, we want to make sure everybody is entered in our Valley Vet gift card giveaway. There's going to be 5 winners, $100 a piece. So make sure you're signed up now. The deadline's September 23rd. So don't forget.
And you can text Valley
Who's
to
signed up for
72402. So make sure you get signed up for text.
You'll get $10 off of a $100 order with that. So make sure you get that done.
And join us next week. We will be live with Dr. Tony, and he is going to be talking with us about fall processing and calving. So you won't want to miss that.
All right.
And that is all for today. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.